injury updates?
Yeah, N'Golo Kante is not fit, so the continuation of his ankle problem. So he won't be travelling with the French squad either. Had a conversation with Didier Deschamps, and we both agreed it was the best thing for him. So let's try and get him fit over the break. Pedro is not fit, and hopefully should be fit the other side of the international break as well. Rudiger is going to play in the under-23s tonight, hopefully for the final time in terms of getting his proper match fitness, and then he's in serious contention to play after the break. So, anyone else you want to know?
How much of a setback it is Kante still not?
Yeah, it's of course it's a setback, but my focus then has become to making sure he's okay, because he's had 4 years of constant football at an incredibly high level, energy level, output level. So we certainly have to get it right. So that's just the right thing to do. And then we have a strong squad, strong numbers in midfield. The midfield performance last week was very good. So we must cope. We have to be strong as a squad, and we should hopefully show that.
The England squad, Tammy not involved, but Mason involved. Just your thoughts on that?
Well, delighted for Mason, and great recognition. He had it at Derby, and fortunately got injured and missed out. When I think he was going to potentially be involved to start, so he hasn't played quite yet, and delighted for him after the start he's had. And with Tammy, there's competition up front. He's had a good start, good goals last week. Hopefully it's a matter of time for him, but that's obviously Gareth's choice, and with the competition of attacking players in the England squad, then that's obviously tough. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased for Mason and Ross, because Ross is there as well.
Is there any concern on your part about the recognition that Mason is getting so quickly? I know in your writing obviously, but beyond Derby and Chelsea now.
No, I'm not concerned about it. I talked about this after Norwich last week. I'm confident in his character and the strength of character and his desire and hunger that those things won't affect him. Now, of course, everybody must keep their feet on the ground to a degree. He obviously first and foremost, and I think he will, but everything around him, because it's only the start for him in terms of his Chelsea career. But I've got full confidence that he can take the responsibility that will come with it and keep working, because that's what's important for him now.
I was looking at something that the Chelsea media boys put out of you putting a free kick in from outside the box, as you do on the training ground, and Mason and Tammy seem to be there with you after training, I guess it was. Does that say a lot about their character?
Yeah, it does, and I was always a huge advocate of extra work because it served me well at times. But I think it's hugely important for all players, particularly young players, but they're not the only ones. Other players are very prepared to stay out. It's something that we try and really encourage here, is extra work, not always shooting. It might be physical work, it might be anything to do with your game. But in terms of those two, they are very hungry, and that's why they were there. And yeah, they also stick them in the top corner regularly. But it's my one was probably 1 of 10, so I was pleased that the camera got that one.
Fairly tough Champions League draw?
Yeah, I think so. I saw the early reports were that all the English teams have seemingly had pretty good draws. There never is an easy draw in the Champions League. Where one team was a semi-finalist last year. Valencia, a very strong team always and dangerous. And in Lille we have another strong team. It's certainly no walkover of a group at all, far from it. Quality teams that will have to be fully on guard and be at our best to get through the group, because it's a strong group across the board, our group.
You've got happy memories of Valencia, I guess. You scored on the way to lifting the Champions League trophy.
Yeah, happy memories of that, but also an awareness of a difficult stadium to go to. Not hostile, I would say, but very much behind the home team and tight. And if you go there and you're not at it already, it will be a particularly difficult game. So yeah, I'm very aware of how hard that will be.
At Sheffield United, we finally get there. The team, really, I think probably 8 of the starters in the last Premier League game were in the team that faced you last time you played them with Derby. So not too many changes, but they're coping, it seems, okay in the Premier League.
They are. They've started well. I was hugely impressed with them last season. Their style of play, formation and style, and of course the job that Chris has done there. I think he can't be underestimated. I don't think it is. I think the recognition he's got is very well deserved to take that club from where he has to play with the style and identity that he has. When he's a man that feels deeply about the club. I felt that when we went to Sheffield United last year, for sure, on the line next to him. And I look forward to going up against him, against a good team that seemingly, like Norwich last week, have stuck to their principles and will give teams in this league a lot of problems.
Luce. Frank, what do you make of their tactics? You know, the overlapping full-backs who appear anywhere, centre-halves that appear in the penalty area. I mean, it worked last season and seemed to be a kind of a tactic no one's seen before. Do you think that Premier League teams will soon get wise to them?
I don't know. I mean, it's certainly we have to give credit where it's due. Like I spoke there about Chris and say that it's something that we haven't seen before, and there's always something nice about being a leader rather than a follower. And I think that really caught the eye in the Championship last year and caught a lot of teams cold. And I really enjoyed the tactical battle going up against them twice, I have to say. So yeah, that is certainly something to applaud, and it gives you a lot of threats against you, and you have to try and work out how you can damage them from the way they play yourselves. In terms of the Premier League, we'll see whether they adapt slightly, how quickly teams will be able to adapt against their style. But from watching their first games, I think that there's not just a tactical edge to them in the way they play, but there's also a physical and spirit about their team, which I like. And I think that's been that may have grown slightly with the fact that they've trusted in a lot of those players that got them up. I like the style of that. I like the way that they've said, here you go, now go and prove it in the Premier League. And so far they are far from letting themselves down.
Not that you were really under pressure, but last week would have lifted any kind of concerns off your shoulders, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, for a nice weekend, yeah, sure, because we need to win games here. We've been playing well in big parts of games and not getting probably what we may deserve, but that's the reality of the league. You can't keep crying about that because you need to win. So it certainly helped, not just myself, but staff who are working towards something, players that were feeling good about, I think, lots of things we were doing, not quite getting the results we did at Norwich. But as the dust has settled for that personally for me, I still think we have a huge uplift in that, because I've watched the game back. I know that there are lots and lots for us to improve on, and the players know that. So that's good. That's a good sign. We got a result. We played pretty well, but I believe there's a lot more, and now we do have the confidence of that win, but we can't rest on that, obviously. It's important to back it up.
Finally from me, Mason called up yesterday was great for him, great for Chelsea as well. James Maddison also called up, people saying, will they be able to play together for England? Where will Mason play? I mean, for someone who was in an England team where forever it was Frank Lampard's in the squad, can him and Steve Gerrard play together? Where will they play together? What would your advice be to Mason when he meets up with England?
I can't believe you've gone Lampard Gerrard. I thought we've moved on. I understand the point. I think
It's a clumsy question, you understand the premise.
Clumsy, I expect, but no, I think there's been a lot of talk about my generation with England and ourselves, and we certainly won't delve back into that. But what I will say is, now sitting on this side of the fence, that we're good, intelligent players, and I hope we were intelligent players. But now, for instance, we played last week with Ross Barkley and Mason in the same team on the same side of the pitch. So there are lots of ways around it, and I think the modern player particularly is hopefully really good at taking on board information. And in Mason and in Maddison, actually, and it's not my place to speak so much about him, but we played them a couple of weeks ago and I was hugely impressed. I think you have two intelligent footballers that are adaptable, can interchange positions. So that's one for Gareth to sort out, but I'm sure there's ways of doing it.
Okay, last two, Liam and then Nazar.
Frank, Tammy Abraham's already had a lot to deal with this season with some of the abuse that he suffered and missing the penalty in the Super Cup. How impressed have you been with him as a person as much as anything, handling all of that as well as the pressure of competing for a starting spot in Chelsea?
Really impressed, and I've said it the last 2 or 3 weeks. His character and how he dealt with the situation was brilliant in terms of the Twitter and the nonsense, and I spoke strongly about it. And but he's one that's dealing with it firsthand, so he's the person that has to rise above it, which is not easy. And he certainly did that in his response, because he has this character which is enthusiastic. He's a people person. The players love him. He trains with a smile on his face, but also a work ethic. So in terms of what I see on the outside and how he's reacted to that, and the competition of trying to get in to the first 11, I can't complain with. It's been brilliant. But back to Mason a bit and back to the young players, that must stay and improve all the time now. Just about football. I mean, because he doesn't, 2 goals will not make or break. He has to now go, that's the start. And I have a feeling he is that kind of character. He's had a taste and he needs to push on because there's competition up front. And I'm not playing young players for the sake of it. Tammy's playing at the minute because he deserves it, but he'll have to continue deserving it.
Okay, last question, Nazar.
Hi Frank, we spoke about Timwe Bakayoko and Davide Zappacosta. I was just wondering if Robert Kennedy or any others are in that sort of category where they could leave the club before the European transfer window closes.
It's a possibility. We are getting to the point now where the window is closing soon. I'm pretty clear on where my squad is, but they are our players as it stands. So we'll have to see how they both develop. In terms of Bakayoko and Kennedy, yeah, for sure, we'll see how it goes.
And Mount's okay from last week?
Yeah, Mason's okay. It's more of a dead leg, like a kick, so he's fine. He's been training.